Hello friends, I am Mr. Bhalirav sir, and as usual I welcome you to my channel, that is English for Learners. Friends, today we are going to learn one of the best poem from 10th standards English textbook, higher level, and the name of the poem is Where the Mind is Without Fear. It was included in the volume called Naivedya. The original poem bears the title called Prarthana, means prayer. This poem is a prayer to God, and the poem was written by Rabindranath Tagaore during the time when India was under the British rule, and the people were eagerly waiting to get their freedom from British rule. Before learning this poem in detail, its explanation, I request you, don't forget to subscribe my channel. The name of the poem is Where the Mind is Without Fear, written by Rabindranath Tagore. Let's see brief introduction about author Rabindranath Tagore and the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear. Rabindranath Tagore, 1861 to 1941, was the author of Gitanjali and its profoundly sensitive, fresh and beautiful verse. He became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. This poem is one of his vastly read and discussed poems. It was originally composed in Bengali, and later he himself translated it into English. This poem is from his Nobel Prize winning anthology Gitanjali. Tagore lived during the time when India was ruled by the British. In this poem, besides political freedom from British, Tagore also appealed to God for social, educational and economic freedom for the people of India. Let's listen the audio of the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear, written by Rabindranath Tagore. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms toward perfection, where clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Let's see the paraphrase of each line. Line number 1. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Explanation. The poet prays to the Almighty that his countrymen should be free from any fear of oppression or forced compulsion. He wishes that his countrymen walk with their heads high, with pride and dignity. Next line, line number 2, where knowledge is free. Explanation. Here, the poet dreams of a nation where everybody is allowed access to knowledge and education, irrespective of caste, class, or creed. The children should learn freely from the nature and the world around them. They should not be forced to memorize some predetermined lessons, and this is Tagore's typical concept of education. Next lines, line number 3 and 4. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Explanation. The poet stresses on the unity of not just his countrymen but also the entire world. He does not want a world where people are divided and discriminated on the basis of caste, creed, color, regions or other baseless superstitions. Next line, line number 5, where words come out from the depth of truth. Explanation. The poet wants people to be honest and truthful in whatever they do and say. They should not have double standards, but whatever they say should be from the depth of their heart. Next line, line 6, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Explanation. In the 6th line, the poet wants everyone to strive tirelessly to reach their goal and in the long run to reach perfection. People should not be lazy and ignoring their work. Next lines, lines 7 and 8, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habits. Explanation. In this line, the words clear stream of reason is compared to logical thinking, dreary desert to baseless belief, which are unproductive, and dead habit to beliefs and superstitions. The poet would want his people to develop the ability to think clearly and logically rather than becomes slave of superstition and baseless beliefs. Next line, line number 9 and 10, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. Explanation. The poet now wishes his countrymen to be liberal, progressive, and broad-minded. He wants their minds to be led forward by the Lord Almighty into an ever-widening world of thought and action. Next line, line number 11. Into that haven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Explanation. In the final line of the poem, the poet addresses the God as Father and asks him to create this awakening in his people so that the country becomes a haven of freedom. Freedom can be enjoyed only when people are free from all ills and evil thoughts or practices. Central idea of the poem. The poet feels that for people to enjoy freedom, it was necessary for them to break all those shackles, political, social, or even personal beliefs and superstitions. Unless they are fearless, knowledgeable, and can think clearly and logically, gaining political freedom would do them no good. He wants his men to be able to live in dignity, which will come from being hardworking, courageous, and open-minded. The poem was written when India was under the British rule and the Indians struggled for freedom. But for Tagore, freedom was more than merely political. He dwelt on the theme of spiritual freedom, freedom of mind, speech, thought, belief, practice, and behavior. Friends, I hope you might have liked this video. If you liked it, please share it. If you have any suggestions for me, please write in comment box. Wish you a good day. Thank you very much.